The recommendations made in the interim report into the Black Saturday bushfires earlier this year, the main concern seems to be that the Royal Commission hasn't gone far enough to prevent a repeat of the February 7th blazes. Well, joining me from Melbourne is the head of the Country Fire Authority, Russell Rees. Mr Rees, thanks very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
You have been criticised in this interim report as not being hands-on in your management of fighting those Black Saturday fires. What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, we need to understand what the day was and the worst weather conditions and fire conditions and multiple fires across the whole of the state of Victoria. I mean, the facts are that we had, and I, and along with my team, were working to a system that was tested, and some of those systems and technologies that we have, that we use, the processes that we had, were found to not hold up under those extreme conditions. So everyone that I know of and everyone I talked to, and myself included, did everything they could on that day. And our focus is to take on board these Royal Commission findings and say that we need to move forward, because my concern, the concern that I have, is that recognising this terrible, terrible tragedy, that we have to focus on the upcoming summer and do everything to learn from that day, to take ourselves forward. That includes me, that includes the whole government, and that includes the community, and we need to take that forward, because there's a whole community debate's got to be had here about the future, about the way we go forward to do our job, and we've got a partnership. I mean, this is very, very short in terms of the time we have to do this work, and so that's my main focus for the next, short period.
Russell Rees, I do want to get to the future. I think that is very important. But do you now accept that the CFA should have done more, and that you personally should have done more to warn people?
Well, what I say is that the systems and the technologies were set up and did not cope with that day. So we had done what we thought was right, but we accept that the systems and technologies let us down. The processes that we had simply didn't cope, and we accept that. And as Chief Officer, I answer for CFA, and from the firefighter on the back of the truck to myself, we need to accept those changes, accept what the Royal Commission is saying, and move on. So we can't just sit there and go back and go back. We need to acknowledge that, take it on board, accept and do that personal introspection, but we have to move on. And so our focus is to implement the changes.
Will you then, Mr Rees, take on the role of changing those systems and processes that so let many people down?
Well, I have made my commitment very clearly. I have the support of my board, I have the support of the government, I have the support of the team around me. And remember, this is the whole of government, this is the whole of the emergency services in Victoria saying we are going to move forward. So let make clear, it's not just my personal commitment, it is the commitment of everybody here that we have to move, and we have to move fast, and we need to take the community with us. That's the challenge I put out. The community and the fire services have to be fully engaged to try and do everything we possibly can to prevent such an occurrence happening again.
Journalist Gary Hughes writes in The Australian today, and he's in a unique position as being a journalist and also having been through the Black Saturday bushfires. He says, if systems fail and people did not carry out their jobs, someone needs to pay the price for those 173 lost souls. Doesn't he have a real point as someone who was involved in that day, and as someone who is in the unique position to be able to express the point of view of some of the people there?
Our view, and my personal view, is that walking away is not the solution to this. We've all got to walk up to the line, we've all got to take on the challenge. Clearly people have shown support, not just for me, but for CFA and the organisation to go forward. And the organisation, CFA, has been through many difficult times, as all fire services and emergency services have around the world and Australia. We have to understand that we have to learn, move forward, take on these recommendations, remembering they are interim recommendations, an interim report and the recommendations are deliberately focused on trying to implement changes for next summer. And that's where CFA and the emergency services are focused.
But you talked about emergency services. The United Firefighters Union, I believe, supports mandatory evacuation and can't understand why we don't have it in this country.
Well, the reality is that the Royal Commission report said that there was very little support amongst the community for mandatory evacuation. It did say, and CFA supports this whole approach, and it's in fact an Australian-wide consideration that we need to refine the messages and the focus on the existing policy so that it is what I call more blunt, that people have to take more responsibility, not so much in their individual responsibility, but to get informed, and the emergency services have to assist with that. So move right down to the household level to give people information so that they can make good decisions.
Just finally, Mr. Rees, can you tell me how you are better prepared for this next fire season?
Well, we're moving forward and moving forward quite rapidly.
But moving forward doesn't say anything, really. Like,
well, I'll get to some of the things. We're working towards a single website. We're changing the messaging approach. We're looking to speed up the way that messages get in and out of the incident management system. There's a huge investment into incident management. There's the development of the National Emergency Warning System, which is a communication system using telephones and text messaging. So there's a range of changes being implemented to improve in this critical area of community information and warnings. There's going to be a very, very large investment in community information and a community education campaign. We're running up to summer and we've got less than 100 days, and all of those activities are being prepared and put on the line so that we can run into summer and seek to make those changes that we see so critical.
Russell Rees, I do thank you very much for your time this morning. We are out of time. Thank you.
Thank you.